They were looking for a female reporter to put in a helicopter at that particular point in time.
In a Senate hearing that she was presiding and she happened to ask a question, and at that moment, naghalo-halo na yung kaba, yung starstruck, and the pressure to just, reach the very high standards that is Senator Lauren Legarda, so I understand. And
Yes.
I'm pretty sure mas malala yung sa'yo, Ms. Pia. And it's also an opportunity na you don't notice it, but you're already reshaping standards of what leadership should look like.
I just didn't say no to it. So I guess there you go. Just don't say no, guys. Always accept.
Once again, thank you so much for joining us
Okay.
here today in this very special live episode of Built Different. You guys can sit down as well. I think we can kick things off by having you both share more about how you started your careers and what really inspired you in your different career paths that you are embarking on. Maybe we can start with Miss Faye.
All right. So, hi again. Good evening, everyone. I'm Faith, and yeah, I actually started my career in sales, where I was taught, resilience, grit, and just dealing with frustrations and failure in general. And with all these experiences from my previous job, it taught me how to navigate anything or any room that I'm in. And these are the very skill set that I never thought would serve me in government. And when I switched careers, I was able to hit the ground running because of it. So yeah, that's how I started actually.
What was the switch that flipped inside
From
you?
that made me transfer to government. Like
Yes.
I just really wanted to be part of something that's very impactful. Like I felt like in my previous job, I wanted to change the system, but I couldn't. So I decided to be a part of it and change it from within.
Okay, very well said. I believe in your new position now, you're able to amplify voices and have different projects. Is it the same for you, Miss Pia? Were you always part of this industry, or were there any switches?
Yeah, first I just want to say good evening to everyone, and I want to thank Bobbitt for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to talk before such distinguished people in business. To answer your question, Red, I was pretty much like single-minded about what I wanted to do in life. When I was in college, growing up watching people on TV like Lauren Legarda and Ces Drilon, diba? I really wanted to be in broadcasting. So I decided to take it up in college. I graduated from the College of Mass Communication in University of the Philippines, Diliman. Talagang, that was really the road I wanted to take. And even before I graduated college, I was already working as a radio newscaster. So, and I never looked back. There was like a fleeting thought about becoming a lawyer, but because my dad's a lawyer. But then when I started earning money, I forgot about it.
I know.
And it's been such a fun ride. I can't really complain about anything about what's happened in my career. I'm just very fortunate. I realized that a lot of people want to be part of it, but only few really get a chance to. So I've been very blessed in that sense. And I'm just happy that I'm still here.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. You've mentioned it was a fun ride, but I wanted to know, you already mentioned to Miss Lauren, there are women in your field already, but for you, were there any challenges that you had to overcome?
She was actually the challenge. No, because after working for radio for a bit, I did get a chance to apply as a researcher for the Inside Story, which she was hosting at that time. And I'm sure we all know Lauren Legarda pretty well. She has very high standards. Let's just put it that way. And it was almost like from a very cushy and very laid back job, which was on radio. And then it was almost like a baptism of fire. And then I started working for Lauren, and it was all about I never saw like the sun for a long time because we would always be in the studio, like writing, editing, putting sound. But this was what I wanted to do. So I was, even though I had no life outside of work, and of course I would get the usual dressing down from her because her standards are really high, which I appreciated because, of course, it was the best training I could have ever gotten in a field I wanted to be part of. So I considered it a golden opportunity to learn from the best, right? So I was there for like 6 to 7 years, first as a researcher, and then steadily I went through the ranks. I became like a segment producer. So I was like interviewing people this time. And yeah. So even though it was tough, it was very instrumental in shaping me into who I am now.
Well, sometimes we really do have to encounter those people that sort of ignite this catalyst
Yeah.
inside us, to properly shape us. But would you say this was something that really mapped out the trajectory of your career?
Well, because after 7 years of doing investigative journalism, I said, I don't know, I guess I thought like I had learned, I had exhausted that, that job. So I decided to go back to radio where I began. And for some strange reason, they were looking for a female reporter to put in a helicopter at that particular point in time. So I was like, sure, why not? Like, I'm up for any kind of challenge. I'm up for the adventure, certainly. And that's what, this was, of course, guys, this was way before Waze, way before Google Maps. We actually relied on a person on radio to tell us where the traffic was. And so they stuck me in a helicopter. I would go up every morning for 3 hours in that chopper, talking about the traffic, which most of us already memorized anyway. So, but it gave me so much good exposure. I was the only one doing it at that time. So people started getting very curious about who I was. For those of you, I don't even think that you guys are too young because I know that the age limit here is 40. So this is way before your time. I was called Traffic Angel Pia, and it was sponsored by Caltex. And I did that for a whole year, and it, like I said, people got curious, and after that, one offer after another just started pouring in. Before, I was behind the scenes, but this time, I never even anticipated or expected that somebody would put me in front. So it was sort of like yeah, it got a life of its own, pretty much.
Literally, it took you to new heights. What about you,
Yes.
Faith? Have you ever rode a helicopter or did
No,
you?
I have not. But to build on what Ms. Pia was talking about, Senator Lauren,
Right.
this is not my challenge, ha. It's not, hindi naman ako umabot sa part that she trained me, but I was able to sit in a Senate hearing that she was presiding, and she happened to ask a question, and at that moment, naghalo-halo na yung kaba, yung starstruck, and the pressure to just, reach the very high standards that is Senator Lauren Legarda, so I understand. And I'm pretty sure mas malala yung sa'yo, Miss Pia. But to talk about challenges, in any fields naman or in any industry, it's very common for people to equate age to experience and vice versa. So if you're like young and you're a woman, they tend to underestimate you before you can even speak or before you can even show them, what you've got. And don't get me wrong, being underestimated is actually an opportunity for you to surprise them with the quality of your work, with how strong your ideas are. And it pushes you actually to deliver results that would exceed everyone else's expectations, including yours. And it's also an opportunity na you don't notice it, but you're already reshaping standards of what leadership should look like.
You already talked about yun nga, challenge of navigating that space as a young woman. In your field ba, are there a lot of young women that you get to work with? And what's it like?
Oh yes, a lot of young women. Na in my office alone, I work with a team of women, and even in our cabinet, madami, we have Sec Nina, to name one. So like I'm very fortunate to work with them, and it strengthened my belief that women can be leaders. Like they're not just meant for the behind the scenes or like a partner or like dyan lang. They're meant to lead.
Okay, that's true. I can see that happening for you.
Oh, thank you.
And I also wanted to get to know you more in the sense of your journey navigating that space. What was the toughest feedback you've ever received from anyone you had to work with? Because you mentioned sometimes people would be underestimating someone based on their age or their gender.
For me, it was to, not to be afraid to take up space because I would really reserve my ideas. I would just choose to be quiet to avoid conflict. But I was told by a mentor that your ideas, no matter how good they are, if you don't verbalize it, if it's not heard, then there's no point to it. And that made me reshape or reframe the way I think in such a sense that whenever I go inside or walk into a room, I always think to myself, "Na I belong here," just so I can, perform to the best of my ability with that confidence in mind.
Did you say you're lucky? Or
No.
locked in?
Sorry,
I'm
what?
sorry. Whenever you go
Walk
inside a
into a
room.
room.
Oh,
Like
okay.
you should think like, yeah, I belong here.
Ah,
Don't
you
second
belong
guess
there.
yourself.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what you mentioned. What about you, Miss Pia? Did you have any trouble navigating or finding your voice in the specific industry you're part of?
Um, well, when I was working for Lauren, since I was young and also like a woman, I would almost always not be taken seriously. I really had to uh, prepare well, just so like people would take me seriously. And another thing about our industry, you get I I'm sure like people are familiar with the pretty privilege, but then when you're working as an investigative journalist, pretty privilege doesn't buy you anything. You have to be prepared. You have to know what you're talking about. You have to be competent. So these were the things that uh, taught me to love research, to read up on everything, and show up ready. So that's one part of what I went through. The other part became show business, and that is a different ball game altogether. It was all about like how good you look and all these things, but I didn't want to bank on that. So I kept the work ethic I learned from Lauren and transferred it to and applied it to show business. I suppose this is what makes me still relevant up to now because of that training with Inside Story. I have become a host that is hopefully that has substance. You know what I mean? So everything truly has a purpose. Even especially the challenges. And these are things that we should definitely all welcome with open arms, right? And so looking back, it really, yes, it was 7 years of not seeing the rest of the world. I would never be part of any family vacations because I would have to be working. Um, I don't even know if I had a boyfriend at that time. I don't think I even had a love life for that matter. My life was the inside of ABS-CBN at that time. And I feel like every single moment was totally worth it and led me up to this point.
Here's your JCI Manila trivia for the day. JCI Manila has a strong commitment to enhancing public speaking and leadership skills among its members. In 2023, they co-hosted the JCI Presenter course with JCI Malolos and Metro area, aiming to elevate participants' presentation abilities and boost their confidence in public speaking.
The Built Different podcast would like to thank Henry's Cameras, Power Mac, Hollyland, Ugreen Philippines, Kappa Cabina, Surge Digital Media, Madcap Productions, Days Media Group, Jazz Up Communications.
Parang what I'm getting at from both of your stories is sometimes, maybe as a woman or as a young person, when you enter a room, it's always like you have to prove something kasi may mga expectations yung other people or they have judgments. And I think that's a challenge in itself. But what would you say are the core values that both of you really try to stick to your heart just so you can possibly either endure the challenges or succeed in your different careers? Maybe Faith, you can start with this.
Okay, for me, what worked kasi so far is, of course, authenticity, accountability, and empathy. So, when I lead something or the same thing that I would keep on telling my team is, I do not pretend to know the answers to the things. That's also something I learned from St. Laurent. Do not pretend to know the things or the answer to things that you're not aware of or you're not properly informed. Prepare, prepare, yeah. So there's no shame naman to asking. So it's you want to make an informed decision anyway. And accountability in a sense na parang whenever you make mistakes, you should be able to admit it to yourself and to your team na, hey, we have to pivot, we have to recalibrate. And there's no shame in that. It's gonna help the outcome become better. And of course, as a leader, it's not just about managing the people in the room, but understanding the people in it, and that's where empathy comes in. So all these core values combined, I believe that's what makes an effective and a strong leader.
All right. And you're really successful in creating this culture for your team as well.
I try.
I try. All right, for you, Ms. Pia, do you have any core values that you
For
stick
me, I wish I could say that from the very beginning, I was also that way, like confident and accountable. But then, like in an industry like ours, where the spots are so few, you sort of like try to protect the position you're in, right? So it took me a while to become that person who could openly admit mistakes, who could actually be humble and forgive others for their mistakes. Um, but for me, I think what worked is my inability to say no. Like everything that came my way, I just said yes to. I guess like the spirit of adventure is always there, and the willingness to learn is always there. Because once upon a time, they told me, you know, you're not masa enough to be on mainstream TV. They told me that. And then, but we didn't listen to people who would, I mean, put us down that way. My manager and I were like, no, they don't know what they're talking about. And lo and behold, I became part of Eat Bulaga. So what can be more masa than eat bulaga. I don't think anything can be more masa than that. So, I mean, for me, it was never about saying no. It was always, yes, I can do this. Yes, I can go up in a chopper for 3 hours for a whole year of my life. Even though that was also the top part of my life where, I was going to parties. So I basically had no sleep. So that was the time that I was enjoying a social life na outside of Inside Story. And then, what else? Yeah, just the willingness to learn all the time. So, most of the things that happened to my life, I didn't really anticipate or predict, like being part of Eat Bulaga or being part of 24 Oras and becoming a showbiz news anchor. I wasn't even really much interested in, you know, actors or actresses' personal lives, but I just didn't say no to it. So I guess there you go. Just don't say no, guys. Always accept.
Right. So meron talagang drastic change in terms of how you view the world before, no? And thank you for being honest about that growth. I want to know, holding on to these core values, diba? How do you, in your specific positions, impart this knowledge to other people? For example, with you, sa mga nakakahalubilo mo sa government or the people, yung mga beneficiaries. For Miss Pia, you also have, you're a mother of two children, no? How do you share these lessons and empower all the people that are surrounding you? Maybe you can start with this, Faith.
Okay, so for me and my team, for example, I try to create a space where they feel safe to speak their minds, to a space where they can, say anything and knowing that they won't be judged for it, which is very important because, empowerment comes or begins when people feel heard, when people feel valued and respected, regardless of their background or regardless of where they came from.
So it's really about emphasizing their value, keeping an open mind.
Yes, you're more confident that way if you know if you're assured na, oh, I can contribute to this, like you're making a change.
Tama naman, parang it brings out the best in people. Din kasi.
Yes.
Okay, what about you, Miss Pia? How do you empower the people around you?
So now I find myself in a very interesting position because now I'm actually the host of my own show and I see researchers and segment producers under me. So I'm trying to bring that idea of having high standards, which is what I learned from my own experience, but I'm trying to maybe apply it with a different uh, maybe style. Maybe not so scary, maybe more approachable. Uh, so, so there, I try to teach them what I've learned from my own experience, but using a different attack. I realize now that it doesn't have to be taught that exact same way. That you can have what's even more important than the lessons you're imparting are the relationships you're building with these people. So that's the kind of difference I'm putting into the kind of leadership I'm showing the people in my show now.
Tama. Well, I appreciate na parang you're putting a twist or your own flavor to your leadership style, no? What's your long-term vision ba for siguro your show or your career? Like, what are your goals down the line in life?
Okay, what's so funny about it is once upon a time, of course, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to be super honest and say that um, the motivation when I was starting was definitely all about personal enrichment, not just in experiences, but also financially. I wanted to be financially stable. I wanted to have some money in the bank, that, and But lately, it's weird. Like after a while, you just start thinking, really, is this all you're about? Or do you actually want to make like a difference in other people's lives, right? So it's become that. So it's happening now in Kada Umaga, my morning show on Net 25, where the people that I am leading are really like super beginners. Like they're new graduates. So that's one way. And another way is right before the pandemic, a friend of mine asked me to be on the board of an NGO called Best Buddies Philippines. And what they do is they foster friendships with individuals with intellectual and developmental diversities. I want to say diversities because they're very able to do a lot of things. So that's another way that I'm trying to sort of contribute to society. We all know that people with IDD live very secluded lives. Most of the time, they don't even have friends. Their friends are just their family members. So we try to put uh, individuals together, neurodivergent and neurotypicals together so that they can foster friendships that last forever. And also, we try to also give them leadership training so that they can be confident in representing Best Buddies because it's an international organization so that they can talk confidently to other people about what Best Buddies is all about. And we also try to train them so that they have employment opportunities and put them in positions where they are suited. So it's fascinating how you become more selfless as you age, I suppose. I also volunteer in my church in Victory BGC. So I've become a kids' church teacher, and then I also get to use my talent in hosting podcasts for them. So, when I think about some people they want to they want to leave this world a better place when they go. For me, it's very my goal is very small. I just want to make a difference in someone's life. That's not just my children because they don't have a choice.
You've already changed their lives, kumbaga. Well, thank you so much for taking this platform to share more about Best Buddies. Actually, we had a guest before from Best Buddies, so we have a one-on-one interview with, I believe, the owner or the founder of Best Buddies, mismo. So thanks so much.
Michelle
Yeah, Michelle.
Aventajado,
So yeah,
yes.
so for our listeners, you guys can tune into that episode, which will be uploaded. And now for you, Faith, we talked about finding this growth or this sense of purpose. For you, what is the legacy that you're trying to build for yourself, and how are you trying to grow yourself and the people around you?
Okay, so right now, kasi I'm very focused on the career that I have because I'm pretty new to this. But I see myself and I hope to be part of something that's much bigger than me and something that that can last. So whether it be in governance, whether it be in communications or in the private sector, I just want to be able to leave things better than when I first found them. Like, may it be relationships, may it be assistance provided, may it be how my team thinks about themselves or how I treat people. So, just be better every day.
Okay, so it's really about leaving a mark and creating change in the space you have. I want to know where you envision, for example, the sector you're leading. Saan papunta yung mga positions that women are holding in your sector for the next few years?
For me kasi I'm fortunately surrounded by a lot of powerful women and I see them right now that they're no longer waiting for a seat at the table, they're building their own. And that's very powerful to me as someone who looks up to these women And we're no longer just for the behind the scenes. We are now the scene, and we're at the forefront of it all. So that's where I see it going. That's where I see it right now heading.
I think you captured women empowerment in its parang essence. So parang building your own table, especially if your voice is not being given enough effort to be listened to. What about you, Pia? Do you have any ideas on where the women in your industry are headed in the next few years?
Well, I think we have a lot of strong women idols in our industry. You saw her a while ago. Mel Chanco was part of your activity at some point. Corina Sanchez. So, I mean, I love that they are. There's such strong female characters in my industry. Charo Santos in the entertainment, Jessica Soho in news and public affairs. So I think more and more we're gonna see a lot more practitioners who are women and in very influential positions. So, galing.
Yeah, it's really important to have this positive outlook, especially for the roles women are holding in your industries. And I guess to capture everything and to recap everything, I want to hear what you guys can say to our female listeners right now. If you have one piece of advice for any women aspiring to be leaders or entrepreneurs, what would that be? Maybe you can start this way.
Okay. It's an advice actually that I wish I was given. It's to never wait to feel ready because no one's going to be 100% ready, and growth happens when you're uncomfortable anyway. And you don't need to have all the answers to feel like you deserve to be a part of something. You just have to be able to find it in yourself na you're capable of figuring things out as you go along. Sabi nga ni Miss Pia, just say yes, figure it out later. So that's, just believe in your capability and encourage other women to do so.
Believing in yourself. And I'm sure yung core values that I mentioned a while ago, authenticity, empathy, and accountability really come into play with that now. What about you, Miss Pia? What are your final advice for the women or future leaders?
Sometimes you just have to fake it till you make it. I mean, so often I have found myself in situations where, like, my chest is super pounding. I'm super nervous, and you just push through, and you just push through all that nervousness. You just forget about all these small voices you hear in your head that you're not good enough, that you shouldn't be here. You know what I mean? Because honestly, you just need to believe in yourself. You just need that confidence in yourself and not think about anybody or anything else. And another thing is like, when you try something and you fail, you still win because you learn from that failure. But if you don't try at all, that's when you lose.
Very well said. Well, thank you to the both of you for sharing your advice and sharing more about women empowerment. Now, I'm really sorry, but I have to put the two of you on the spot. Because on Built Different, we play a game every time we have guests on the show. And this time, inspired by our ongoing partnership with Miss Universe Philippines, we will be having a quick Q&A segment. So are you guys up for that challenge?
I hope it's not beauty pageant questions. They're so hard to answer, honestly. I don't know how they do it on the spot.
Well, I'm sorry, Miss Pia, but it is a beauty pageant question. And you will also be judged by a panel of judges. Actually,
Pressure.
we have a criteria pa nga eh. We are judging based on 30% sa content, 20% presence and delivery, and then 50% audience impact. So, are you guys ready? I'll be giving you 1 minute and 30 seconds for each of the questions. Concede agad. Hindi naman. Let's see if we are
We'll
going to be
start
able to
with,
share.
thank you very much for that wonderful question.
World peace.
Well, prepared na agad din, no? Is there anyone brave between the both of you who wants to take on the first question? Rock, paper, scissors.
Will
na lang.
never be.
Oh my
Okay.
God. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good way.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Okay, you won, so you get to decide who's gonna go first.
Faith.
Say it.
Okay.
I think we should stand up for this segment.
Okay.
What
Oh
do
my
you guys
gosh,
think?
that's scary. Bakit may direction?
All right. Yeah, to really test your experience, your knowledge, the extent of your capacity, we have a question. And this is actually brought to you by our sponsor. The first question is brought to you by Nicole. You can visit their booth outside to see their luxury crafted bags and to receive a special discount only for today on their bags. So please visit their booth outside. And now, Faith, your question goes, if you could give one message to your younger self about leadership and empowerment, what would that be?
It would be, oh wait. First of all, thank you for that wonderful question. And if I were to give my younger self an advice, it is to always remember that when I see myself as the only woman in the room, I should make sure that I'm not going to be the last.
Wow, very well said. I'm sure after this, nasa Instagram buyers na yan ang mga
Oh, thanks.
tweet na yan. Okay, very well said. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
taking the
much.
challenge. For you, Miss Pia, we have another question brought to you by Federal Land and Nomura Real Estate. Again, you can visit their booth outside to get to know more about their company and also receive some freebies that they have in stock. And now for your question, syempre you're a mother of two then. What would you say to the next generation of women leaders?
I want to thank you for that wonderful.
You're welcome.
What would I say to them? That they deserve a space in this world. They are not. They are not below anyone just because they are a woman. That in so many ways, they truly belong to, they have a space in the table, and if they don't, they should make their own table. And, thank you. Keep it up. Yes, yes, yes. So, that's it.
Thank you so much for both of your answers. Tingnan natin kung papasa ba to sa mga judges. But before we move on to our awarding, because we will be awarding the one with the best answer for our Q&A, I'd like to thank our final sponsor, which is Sun Life. You can visit their booth outside to get to know more about their opportunities if you want to become an advisor, and also get a free planner and pen when you sign up with them. And now, even though all of our guests tonight have already shared their wisdom and knowledge and advice to our guests, we do have to choose a special winner for tonight. And the announcement of this special winner is care of our president. So allow me in welcoming JCI Manila's president up on stage, Mr. Adrian Padiernos, to announce and award the winner of tonight. How do you girls feel about your answers? Confident naman tayo?
No.
No, your answers were very beautiful and insightful. So thank you so much for that.
Mahirap talaga maging beauty queen.
Yeah, and then you have to look good all the time.
And then you have to do it in like a long gown.
Thank you again, ladies, for gracing us with your presence. Mahirap pala itong trabaho ng presidente. Ang hirap ng trabaho, grabe. Actually have the winner in this special envelope. And we had to go through a lot of debate, argument. I think both of you have shared very impactful and meaningful sharings, insights. And I hope not only the women here tonight, but also our gentlemen, our brothers who are present, you guys were able to pick up you guys were able to pick up on the great lessons that these two young, confident, beautiful ladies have shared. Without further ado, sino sa tingin
Di ba may
nanalo?
nag-hold hands?
Grabe ka. Parang cop out. Too safe. Really different tayo. We have to choose a winner here. So, without further ado, drum roll please.
JCI people are decisive.
Okay. Drum roll. Thank you. Drum roll guys. Okay. And the winner is you. All of you. All the ladies here. Lahat ng mga sister. Chill back ako kayo. Chill back.
Yeah.
You guys are
Thank you. Thank you so
You guys deserve.
We were gonna protest na eh.
Thank you so much.
That's right, the winner is you. Siyempre,
Thank you
we want
very
to acknowledge all
much.
the women and all their contributions, and especially our guests who have graced us with your presence tonight.
The Built Different podcast would like to thank Henry's Cameras, Power Mac, Hollyland, Green Philippines, Kappa Cabina, Surge Digital Media, Madcap Productions, Days Media Group, Jazz Up Communications,